Hi, I'm Stuart Pennington. I've spoken to you before, but maybe you haven't seen it. I run a website, www.sagoodnews.co.za. We post a blog, we post a newsletter, we post a South African hero story, and we post a fast fact on a weekly basis. We probably post between 25 and 30 stories a month. Today is Africa Day, and so I've written a newsletter on what there is to celebrate. And I think on this particular day, Africa Day, there are three things to celebrate. Clearly, we need to celebrate a lot of what is Africa, and in Cyril Ramaphosa's newsletter, he writes, "Today marks 57 years since the leaders of 32 independent countries met in Addis Ababa and signed a charter which was a rousing call to unity. The charter is based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the UN Charter." Well, who wrote the UN Charter? The UN Charter was written by Jan Christian Smuts, who was born this year 150 years ago. He was a remarkable person. He was the only person who presided over the signing of two peace agreements after the First and Second World War. He was Vice-Chancellor at Cambridge University, and he even was an acting Prime Minister in the United Kingdom during the war. And I think he's a remarkable South African. He came from a very humble upbringing in Riebeck West, where he only started going to school at the age of 12, and it's a true African story. So I think his life should be celebrated. And the third reason I think we have to celebrate today is it's 200 years ago since the 1820 settlers arrived. Now, I don't know whether any of you have read this voluminous book, Frontiers, by Noel Mostert, but it describes the history of the clash in the Eastern Cape that took place as a result of the arrival of the 1820 settlers. They were not people who were of wealth. They were people who were really the victims of the Napoleonic Wars, and they came out to South Africa with a number of false promises for a new life. And they clashed with the amaXhosa, who were moving down from the northern parts of the Eastern Cape and Natal as a result of pressure from the AmaZulu or the isiZulu. So they made a significant contribution, some of it controversial, but a significant contribution to the history of both South Africa and in many respects what happened in Southern Africa. So I think their arrival 200 years ago is worth celebrating. So I invite you to go on to www.sagoodnews.co.za and to look at this week's newsletter. You might like to look at our blog, which deals with the challenges facing education and moving to level 3. And you might like to look at some of our latest news stories and our SA hero story. And just one last thing, you may be interested to learn in our fast facts that Zoom, which is the now new webinar technology, is worth more than the world's top 5 airlines combined. That shows you how fast things can change, and that's what we like to write about. So thanks for your time, and enjoy the read.